everyone, Swagmar here. So Squadrons is right around the corner, and in today's video we're going to be looking at 10 TIE fighters or TIE variants I would like to see in Star Wars Squadrons. Now most of you already know what TIEs the Empire will be getting at launch date. For those of you that don't know, we're going to be getting the TIE Fighter, TIE Interceptor, TIE Bomber, and the TIE Reaper. Like I said guys, I'm going to be sharing what TIEs or starfighters I would like to see as an add-on or DLC in the game. Now some of the fighters I will be showing in today's video are not canon yet, unfortunately. Most of them are in Legends, but hopefully Motive Studios can canonize some of the fighters I will be discussing in today's video. Since the game is $40, no DLC has been confirmed by Motive Studios, and we might not get DLC for this game since it is a very small project, but hopefully maybe one day EA or Motive Studios, they get around to like, hey, maybe we should add DLC to the game. But I'm very excited for Squadrons, and I'm really looking forward for DLC for this game. The game looks very fun. But without further ado guys, let's get started on our top 10 list. What TIE fighters I would like to see in Squadrons if they ever add a DLC. Alright guys, for our number 10 spot we have the Heavy TIE Fighter or the TIE Brute. This TIE was wider than a TIE Bomber and slightly slower than a TIE Bomber at 800 kilometers per hour. But the reason for its decrease of its speed is because of its thickness and its armor and weapons. This TIE is equipped with 2 twin laser cannons, and it is much more powerful than the 3 basic TIE fighters. I'd like to see this TIE as DLC maybe. It is perfectly balanced. You get stronger laser cannons and stronger armor and speed. This ship can easily be a frigate killer or a support killer if used properly. That means protecting the fighter to its target or to its destination. The reason why I put this at our number 10 spot is we don't really need another variant of a TIE Bomber, but it'd be really nice to see in the game as an enforcer or a support, kind of like in Battlefront 2 with their battle point system, if they ever decide to add a battle point system in Squad. But let me know what your guys' thoughts are on the Heavy TIE Fighter and if it should be in the game. At number 9 we have the TIE Striker. Now this was first introduced in Rogue One and was also a flyable vehicle in Star Wars Battlefront 2015 with a mod. Fun fact about the TIE Striker, it was faster than all the Rebellion starfighters, or most of them, but it was definitely faster than an A-Wing. Its speed was at 1500 kilometers per hour, and it was almost faster than most of the TIEs in the Empire. This fighter was really hard to hit just because of its speed and its length and height. When I look at the TIE Striker, it is basically an advanced TIE Interceptor. I would love to see this fighter in Squadrons. You could do a whole lot with this fighter. You can outmaneuver most of the offensive fighters, have a slightly better mobility with the Striker. The only flaw I have with the TIE Striker is probably the wing size. It seems a little big in my opinion, and that can be an easy target, but it has great speed. It is somewhat big, therefore I decided to put it at our number 9 list. It is a great starfighter overall though. It would be amazing to get this fighter as a DLC. I know most of you guys are a fan favorite of the TIE Striker. I am somewhat of a fan of the TIE Striker as well, and the great thing about the TIE Striker, it is in canon, so there might be a possibility they add it in the game in the future. At our number 8 spot is the TIE Advanced V1. This TIE was first seen in Star Wars Rebels. This was mainly assigned to the Inquisitors of the Galactic Empire. Now there are rumors we might get this TIE fighter in Squadrons, but we're not certain if it's confirmed or not, but most likely they will add it along the road. The TIE Advanced V1 was basically a better and more superior version of the basic TIE fighter. This fighter had better armor, as you can see on its wings. It's not fully solar paneled like the other TIEs. The reason for that is this fighter is focused more on a stronger hull and more power to its weapons to save energy. This fighter had to be manually fueled at a hangar or an outpost. This fighter was also very fast at 1600 kilometers per hour. This fighter would be an amazing add-on to Star Wars Squadrons. It was easy to control, and it can be a very deadly fighter if used correctly. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are on the TIE Advanced V1. At number 7 we have the TIE Hunter. Now I'm a huge fan of this TIE fighter. This fighter was piloted by Storm Commandos and Shadow Scouts in the Galactic Empire. The Hunter was also smaller than a TIE Interceptor. The TIE fighter carried 12 proton torpedoes and had its own hyperdrive. Its laser cannons were also able to kind of substitute for ion cannons. This fighter is very similar to the X-Wing. Both starfighters can both go on S-foil lock. Now I'm not so sure if this fighter had shielding or not, but it does state it was the fastest TIE fighter in the Galactic in the Galactic Empire. And it also stated it had shielding, but then again guys, I'm not so sure on that. This would be an absolute monster in space. I feel like the Hunter would be slightly overpowered just because of its shields and its cannons. It could shoot ion cannons, and its capacity was 12 proton torpedoes. This thing would basically be a flying tank or a flying gunship. Still, I am a fan of this fighter, and I had a blast playing it in Rogue Squadrons. It would be awesome if Motive Studios would resurrect the TIE Hunter. At number 6, we have the Thai Advanced Exelon, Lord Vader's personal TIE fighter. Now, we most likely will probably not see this in the Squadron just because it is a hero ship and Lord Vader's personal starfighter. But if I'm not mistaken, I believe there was an X2 version and it was only operated by elite pilots. I'm not so sure on this, guys, so if I'm wrong, please correct me in the comments. The X1 had the exact same engines as the TIE Interceptor and had the same laser cannons, but the X1 did have a slightly faster fire rate than the TIE Interceptor. The X1 also had a cluster missile launcher with 21 missiles equipped, or torpedoes. It would be awesome to see this fighter in the Squadron. The only reason why I put it on the list is because it is a fan favorite. We are in the Empire era, and it would just be cool to see this fighter in action. I am a fan favorite of this too. I had a blast playing it in Battlefront 2 and in Battlefront 2015. This fighter would be an absolute monster if they were to add it in Squadrons. You got an increased fire rate, you got like faster cannons, you get to shoot faster than the Interceptor, you got 21 missiles equipped with you, and you got speed. And it is Lord Vader's fighter after all. At number 5, we have the TIE Predator. Now this TIE is set to the future kind of, but the Predator is the most deadliest TIE fighter out there in galactic history. The Predator was another advanced version of a TIE Interceptor. The Predator was also insanely fast, had amazing maneuverability, and it was really well armed. And another plus, it also had shields too. Also, the fighter was probably one of the smallest TIE fighters ever manufactured by the Empire. Therefore, it was extremely hard target to hit. The only flaw with the Predator was probably how hard it was actually to see when operating the TIE fighter. The Predator could be an awesome add-on to Star Wars Squadrons, but then again, this fighter wasn't invented until 130 BBY. Therefore, we put it at our number 5 list. At number 4, we have the Thai Oppressor. This TIE was just an elite fighter overall. This fighter can do tons of damage to capital ships, frigates, you name it. And the best part about the Thai Oppressor, it wasn't slow as a bomber or a heavy TIE fighter. If this ship was added to Squadrons, this thing would be an absolute beast. It could probably destroy objectives fast, destroy vital parts of a flagship. Overall, the Thai Oppressor is the fighter to choose for damage. This fighter is amazing. I would really love for Motive Studios to add this into Squadron. At number 3, we have the Thai Avenger. The Avenger was equipped with 4 laser cannons. It also had 2 warhead launchers. The Avenger was also equipped with shielding, ion cannons. This fighter basically does everything right. The Avenger can easily dominate space. This fighter was also faster than an A-Wing. Believe it or not, guys, this fighter had a tractor beam. It was able to pull fighters in front of it and take them out one by one. The Avenger overall is probably one of the best fighters out there in the galaxy. If we were to see this in Squadrons, it would just be overkill. The Thai Avenger literally has no flaws. They could probably balance this fighter if they were ever to add it in the game by power efficiency.
Comlink active. Targeting. Stealth mode activated.
At number 2, we have the Thai Phantom. The Phantom is basically a cloaking fighter. This fighter has the ability to go invisible during battle. The Phantom's top speed is at 1490 kilometers per hour. This TIE again is faster than all the Rebel Alliance starfighters. Another unique thing about the Thai Phantom was it had 5 laser cannons and deflector shields. This fighter would be a great add-on to Squadrons. This fighter can easily be balanced despite its cloaking system, but when cloaked on the Phantom, you weren't able to fire laser cannons and your speed would basically be cut in half. The Phantom would use tons of energy on just its speed and cloaking. The reason I want to see this fighter in Squadrons is because I feel like this can be an easy flanking unit and they could probably balance the Phantom by its power usage. I feel like this fighter should be probably a top priority in Squadrons, but that's only my opinion. I'm a huge fan of this TIE and it's just a great flanking unit overall. At number 1 is the TIE Defender. This TIE fighter alone is the fastest and most lethal TIE fighter in the Imperial Navy. This is my favorite TIE fighter out there, guys. Great thing about the TIE Defender is that it's canon, so there might be a 90% chance we might get to see this in Squadrons. The Defender was equipped with 4 laser cannons and 2 ion cannons and 2 warheads. It also had a very impressive armor hull. Another plus to the TIE Defender was its shielding. It was compared to a capital ship shields. Basically, the fighter had very strong shields and was extremely maneuverable. And its speed was just superior compared to any other fighter out there, clocking at 1680 kilometers per hour. The Defender is just an unfair ship in general. I feel like they could add the Defender, say if your team was getting dominated or destroyed. Add some kind of like battle point system, or kind of like in Battlefront 2, like I mentioned earlier with the heavy TIE fighter. As crazy as this sounds, the Defender can take a capital ship head on by itself. Anyways, guys, that is my top 10 TIE fighter list in Star Wars Squadrons. Let me know what you guys think of my list, if you guys agree with it or disagree with it, like if you guys disagree with some of the fighters that should be on there. or not. If you guys enjoyed this video, a like would be much appreciated. Subscribe for more, guys. Thank you guys all for watching, and peace.
It's not over yet. Not for me.